We want to welcome everybody to our tips and tricks of real estate trade. We have some special guests, and we want everybody on the call to participate as well. So I want to go around the room and have everybody introduce themselves and tell us how long you've been in the business and how long have you been with Coldwell Banker. And we'll start with you, Mr. Alex Vestardis.
Hello, I'm Alex Vestardis. Been with the company, well, we were acquired a few times. So I started 24 years ago with the company. We were initially a Prudential Florida Realty, then we were a Vita, then Coldwell Banker assumed us. So I really never moved from the company. We just kept getting bought out. So we had an office across the street where the marketplace is. That's where our office was initially. And we had two Coldwell Bankers, one there and then the one we're in now. So we merged them. So I've been with the company the whole time. I've had four brokers, and Andre's the best, of course. Yeah.
The current.
Did he pay you to say that?
Of course. So my team is just real quick. It's my wife, Amy, and I. We've worked together the whole time. She does the listing part of the business. I do the sales and run the office. And then Adam's been and Amy's been the business 25 years. And then Adam's been with us 23 years. So the three of us kind of do it together, and that's it. That's right.
Wow, that is amazing.
Thanks.
So Sherry Sampson couldn't be with us. One of her clients flew in town this morning. So in her place, we have Miss Sophia Ferrara. And how long have you been in business and been with Coldwell Banker?
I have been with Coldwell Banker for 4 years now, and I started with Coldwell Banker, and I went to my first meeting here and thought maybe it was going to be too far, but I met Ruth and everyone, and I was stuck. So I've been here ever since.
And what else do you do?
I'm also the part-time assistant manager at the office, so I juggle a little bit doing both, but my husband, Matt, we're not official partners, but he helps me with the real estate side too. So that's kind of my dynamic, I guess.
Wow. She is very dynamic. And we have Miss Jana Lee. So how long have you been in business and also been with Coldwell Banker?
Good morning. Same as little Sophia. I've been here 4 years and I absolutely love Coldwell Banker. I love when I meet people, I always say we're international and we could get you a villa in Tuscany or a condo in Dubai. So it's all about marketing and being international. Whatever you want, we've got for you.
Oh, wow.
Where do you want to be? Where do you want to end up? What's your journey? Talk to me.
Well, let's talk. I am talking to you.
Listen.
So let's talk about all of your clients, your past clients, okay? So how often do you reach out to them and what type of tools do you use to keep them engaged? Alex?
So I use a system called Realty. It's $100 a year. It's a CRM. And, you can use whatever CRM you use that works for you. We've been using that for many, many years. And, there's some out there that are probably better or worse, whatever. But basically what I do is I put all my clients in the database and hit them differently per their, where they kind of fit in kind of getting business. So what I do is I hit them probably, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 times a year. And it could be via text. It could be birthday card, anniversary card. It could be, just reaching out to them and just calling them. So, you kind of have to look at the client and kind of see, what works for that client. Some people don't want to be bothered at all and they still call you back or they give you business. So, really figuring out the personality of the person is real important because you don't want to bombard them in the wrong manner. And then they kind of look at you like you're bothering them. So that's kind of what I do. So I put everything. Mm-hmm. One thing to note is that if I would have done day one, I probably would have thousands of people in my database. But, in the older days, we didn't have the database we have today. So I highly suggest anybody, of course, new or in the business, even the last 10 years, get everybody in there and get people in there that, could be whatever your septic guy, like my septic guy just gave me a, referral, that kind of thing. So put everybody in there and then just kind of hit them as they probably need to be hit. And that's kind of what I do.
Absolutely. I love the fact that you said you have to figure out their personality. That's one of the biggest things that I hear go wrong in a real estate transaction is client and agent not communicating properly. And it's up to us as the professional to figure out the personality of our client so that we can adapt and change and communicate to them on their level. So I love that. And what Alex says is he adapts his marketing around their client's personality. That is huge. So Ms. Jenna Lee, what
Yes,
say
sir.
you? How do you keep your past clients engaged? What type of tools do you use?
Well, I also follow the lead of the best, which is the Stardust team. And I do the postcards on their anniversary. And I got a referral from a school teacher. She's really a sweet lady. So I got a little deck of highlighters and I said, and with a gift card, and I gave her a little gift saying, thank you for you're the highlight of my referrals. So thank you so much. And I appreciate that. People like you picking up the phone and just talking to them. Hey, how are you settling in? How's everything going? It's been 6 months. Do you want to see how much your home is worth now? It's been a year, just for laughs and giggles because the market is going so crazy. And they actually were considering reselling again. So they're like, well, should we put a pull in or should we resell? Not sure. But give us that CMA. We want to know where we stand. So we know we're going to call you because you're first in line, first in mind. So all those little touches, whether it's a phone call, a gentle text, or the postcard, like Alex was saying, or anniversary cards, birthday cards go a long way. Oh my God, you remembered my birthday. How can you remember things like that? And now every closing that I have, I'm starting to get a basket of Christmas cards and write my Christmas card then and there. So it's in the basket. So at Christmas time, I'm not going to be so overwhelmed with so many to send out. So that's another little tip.
I love that tip. So you already have all your Christmas cards done.
Not all of them. Come on, not all of them.
So you say that you pick up the phone and you make the calls, right?
Yes.
Does your CRM system remind you to make those calls, or you just have you've time blocked a certain period of time to
I
where you
time block.
dedicate it to when do you make your calls?
I like 2 times in the day. I like to call in the morning and I like to call in the afternoon. Sometimes people are just too rushed for their day and they don't have time to even hear what it is you're saying. So I also like to call like when I'm driving, whenever I'm doing showings, if I have a long stretch, I'll just in the afternoon, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, hey, just thinking of you, just wanted to know, blah, 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 and just starting a conversation. Now, the last time that we were talking, you were saying that you had a sister that was going to be moving to Florida. How's that going? Would you mind sharing her information with me?
Mhm.
Oh my God, yeah, they were thinking about Texas, but now it's Florida for sure.
Oh,
So, it's just listening, being aware, and what I always put notes in my cell phone too. They have a dog. They have 2 kids that are in grade school, so I know schools are going to be important to them.
mhm. Absolutely. And another thing that I picked up is that you call them and try to give them their CMA and all of that, keep them engaged on the market. I know Alex did that as well. I know he and I had conversations. I remember Alex, if you don't mind me sharing.
Yeah.
You mentioned that, man, this month seems a little bit slow. So what you did was you picked up the phone and started calling your past clients.
Yeah, so what I did, and what I did was I really worked on text, to be honest. I mean, it was just the easiest and fastest way to do it. So I made like a little, blurb, the market's doing great, I'm low inventory, I need help, kind of thing. And, just threw it out there, I'd like to just come by and see your house and maybe you'll sell, maybe you're not. And, and I kind of hit everybody at one shot and I just kept throwing text out there. And I'll have to tell you, I sold a house in Bay Hill through it. I've got another one
Nice.
coming up in Windermere on the Butler chain that they're going to end up selling. I went out to another one where they're not selling today, but they wanted to show me what they did to their house. So Amy and I ran out there. We chatted with them. We looked at the house. It looked great. And I think that what we have to keep doing is just keep top of mind. And if you have to go to somebody's house for a few minutes and at least say hello and look at their house, people are have pride in their homes, and especially if they
Oh,
do,
yeah.
you know, you want to just go out and say, hey, great job or whatever. Now you've got them forever. I mean, when they're ready to sell, they are going to call you. There is no doubt. So that's what I did, and it worked. I mean, I was telling Andre we're having our best quarter, and that was a big reason why we started reaching out to everybody, and it was via text, because people don't have time today to chat as much as they used to. So, and I'm very to the point kind of person. So it is my personality. It works. Text works great because I can go back and forth pretty quick, and I can have 6, 8 people going at a time and give them the attention they need. And then some people just respond at all, or they'll respond 3 days later, which is interesting. They'll say, thanks for reaching out, not ready, get back to me later, or something like that. So that's what the text thing works. It's huge.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. I love it. I just want to remind everybody on the call to please turn your cameras off unless you are on the panel. We want all the panelists to be highlighted on video. So if you're not on the panel, please, Miss Adriana, please turn your cameras off, please. Thank you so much. All right. So Miss Sophia, same question. Your past clients, how often do you engage them? What do you use? What type of CRM systems?
So I'm in between right now on CRM systems, but
Aren't we all?
but I do a lot with the phone calls and text. But the other thing I started to do, I guess 2 years ago now when COVID hit, is I reach out by mail once a quarter, and I try to have it kind of like a birthday card, be something completely unrelated to real estate. Cause I felt like, you know, again, 2 years ago when COVID hit, we kind of got to that point where like you just kind of needed to know someone cared or someone was thinking about you. So now every quarter, you know, maybe it's like last fall, I did just a $5 Starbucks gift card, like to go get yourself your favorite fall drink. And just a little note of kind of, I hope you're still doing well. I hope you're still enjoying the home. Kind of just wanted to make sure you're enjoying your fall, like super simple. And depending on the person, most of the time I won't even put my business card in because I know they know who I am. And I just want them to see that it's a personal interaction. And this past year, I actually ended up selling 2 different properties that the guy reached out and was like, actually, we've been thinking about, you know, selling our rental property. And I hope they would have thought about me otherwise, but I know that them having that little touch helps. So
That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
I love it. So you're in between CRM systems. Which ones?
I'm switching everything over to Moxie, which I do love. I'm still learning it. But I've always, which maybe isn't the most organized, but from a mailing standpoint, I've always had a separate Excel spreadsheet that had everyone's addresses, especially because if it's an investor or someone like that, their transaction address isn't necessarily the address that I should be mailing something to. So I kind of have that transaction list just in Excel. And would highlight as I'm sending out those letters and just unhighlight when I go to do the next thing. And thus far, that's working for me.
I love
Yay.
it. Keep it simple. Miss Rue, what's up? Welcome. So we have to, first you have to tell us how long you've been in the business, in real estate business, and also how long you've been with Coldwell Banker. Oh, you have to unmute.
You're muted.
I thought I wasn't, sorry.
You're right.
It's been a technical, challenging kind of morning. So I've been in the residential side of real estate for about a little over a year, and all of that time has been at Coldwell Banker. So
And you're rocking it.
Yes, she
Thank
is.
you. I'm having a good time, and you know, I'm having some days that I want to hate, but it's okay. It all works out.
Hey, we live in the roller coaster mecca of the world, so
I'm at the down spot right now. I'm trying to get to the up. Get there.
I hear you. So what about your past clients so far? What type of tools are you using to keep them engaged, and how often are you engaging them?
So, what I am doing, last year I sent every single person a Christmas card. I'm trying to reach out to my past clients in a more personal manner. Like I'll send them a greeting card, like for Easter. I sent everybody an Easter card with some seeds in it. Just kind of welcome spring scenario. I am doing other touches outside that, like I'll do video texts. I have found that a video text is very impactful with people, and I think that they tend to remember that more than standard text because it's different. It stands out. It's not like what they always get. The trick is, sometimes you have to have no fear. It may not look so pretty that day. But it's got to go. And then the other thing that I do is I'll send out, like little emails. I'm starting an email campaign to send out to people, and it's not always going to be real estate. It'll be helpful tips and tricks, kind of things for them. So it's not always just real estate, and then some inspirational things. So I found that actually helps people remember me. I've had 2 people when I first started a year ago that when I was in rental land, I've had both renters contact me and say, hey, I want to buy a house. So that was really nice because that was the goal. So I could pay the real money. But yeah, so that's kind of it. As far as the CRM, I'm in the Moxie sounds amazing. It sounds like everything I want because I'd like a CRM that kicks my butt and tells me what to do, and it sounds like it might do that. And so I'm kind of in between. Otherwise, I have to put it on a calendar, and I have a annual calendar that I put in place. It's strictly manual, and I remind myself of dates throughout that. So I'm always looking for something that's going to be a better process to structure my life better so that I'm getting the backup that I need because I'm a solo agent. So I don't have anybody to tell me what to do when I need to do it. And I'm in the moment a lot of times, so I'll forget. So that's what I'm looking.
I highly recommend everybody on this call to really find a CRM system that works for you. If you don't have one right now, you have 2 options. Of course, Moxie. Of course, I'm going to encourage you to use Moxie first, but MLS has one for you now as well. Okay. So if you don't want to spend any money on the CRM system, of course, Moxie, and then the one through MLS. What is the name of that, Sophia? Do you remember?
It's like Prospect.
Prospect CRM, I think.
Yes.
So Andre, I'm gonna jump in quick.
Yeah.
So I'm this is the big one for everybody. I think this is the golden nugget, if you will. If I would have done a CRM from day one, I would either be retired or be more money than I would know what to do with. So I'm just going to tell you guys, being in the business so long, that is the most important thing you do every day. So like when I walk into my office every single day, my Realty Juggler comes up, and it's real simple. You put in the person's name, the address, the birthdays, whatever. Moxie's probably the same. They're all the same. But if you're not doing that, you might as well go out of business because you're starting at 0 every day versus starting at having clients every day. So it's so important that you do this. And don't try to figure out which one works or doesn't or costs or whatever. Just start doing it. And you got to, if you don't,
Just do it.
You're out of business. I mean, you are, because those clients are the most important pieces. When we go on a listing appointment, I'll go with Amy on a listing appointment, and we know who they are. There is no question. We get that listing. Or if a buyer calls me, a buyer called me yesterday, there's no question they're going to work with us, and we're going to get the best commission. We're going to get the best everything. They trust you. They already know who you are. So that's my food for thought today, is that you need to start today and don't think about it. Just do it. Do something with that. That's the most important thing. So
not only that, this is a side note, but I'm just going to add it because I have to. Yes, CRM system. Yes, set up your LLC. Okay. And yes, set up a retirement account. Just going to throw that out there for everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome, Courtney.
So true.
If you can, turn your camera off for me. We love your pretty face, but we want to keep it with the panelists right now.
Okay.
I'm just messing with you. Yeah, I've been known to call people out, so my apologies. So, Mr. Chad, coming from a closing, how are you? So how long have you been in the business? And how long have you been with Coldwell Banker? And tell me about your past clients and how you keep them engaged. And I hope you are parked and pulled over to the side. It's safe. Have to unmute. You got to unmute your mic, Chad. Sorry about that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm parked out in front of my client's house now. I've got to go in and help them reset some door codes and things with just help them out, do some extra things for them. So stay top of mind for them. But yeah, I started in October. October of last year.
Okay.
And so I've been in with Coldwell Banker since October of last year. Not too many past clients, but I set up my CRM from the start. Went out to all my sphere, which is mainly not even here. It's in Virginia, and Texas, lots of other places. But from that, even I have a client that I'm working with now that was a friend of mine in Virginia that used to live in Florida and now is moving back to Florida. So he's looking for a house in Florida and an investment property to buy and rent to his son. So he's gonna, wind up buying 2 houses from me, and he's in Virginia. So, you definitely have to use that, and it'll definitely pay off for you. When I first started in October, I had a desk duty call that was a rental. I did the rental, knowing that they sold their house and they were going to be buying something this year. They just wanted to rent something and learn the area. So kept in touch with them, working with them right now to sell them a house. They're in the 800,000 range. The other one was in the 600,000 range. One of the first listing that I had, she got me these other listings. So I just sent her another gift, like a closing gift, because I just closed on the house that she referred that was 3.4 million. So I sent her a Cutco knife set.
Excuse me. You said that you just started in October, okay? And you just now closed a $3.1 million house?
3.4 million. And then today I closed the house that she purchased, which was stepping down to a $1.8 million house. And then I sold a house at the beginning of this month for $820, which was the neighbor of the first house that I sold. So she's gotten, all of these sales that I've had this month came from the first sale that I had. So this month I closed over 6 million in sales this month. So my goal was to make 100,000 this year, and I made over 100,000 this month.
That's awesome.
So
Congrats.
I think we can end the call, and thank you all. No, so we really wanted to add you to this call, Chad, because I really want to stress to everybody on this call that you do not have to have years and years and years of experience to do luxury real estate, to do real estate, period. People do not care about how long you've been in the business. They care about how you do the business, okay? And Chad picked up the phone, made that call, presented himself as if he knows exactly what he's talking about, which he does, because he has the tools and support behind him to carry him through. And he was fearless.
Well, and that's the other thing that I would tell everyone. I interviewed quite a few different companies, and I went with Coldwell Banker because of the tools that you have. And I knew that with all the tools that you have, listing concierge, that I would get listings, that it would help me get listings. And when I went on I've got the listing that's 7.9 million. And I got that from he asked me, do you have experience at this level? And my answer was, yes, we do. And I showed her the houses that Coldwell Banker has sold that are well above 7.9 million. So, my answer was, yes, we do. And showed her, the things that we would have to offer, and stressed the global luxury, and that I was going to market her home globally. And Coldwell Banker has done great with that. I mean, it was on the cover of last month's magazine, and it went out not just to the whole state of Florida. They put it out to the whole country, and then the TV commercial, instead of just going to our area, it went all over the country. So all we had to do was ask, and they put it out there, to the whole country. And I didn't pay any extra for that. That was part of what Coldwell Banker has to offer. So that really pleases that $7.9 million client, that, even though her house hasn't sold, she sees that we're working, and getting her house out there, which it was listed before. And, they just marketed it locally. And that's how I got the listing, was stressing that, we're going to market your house globally.
Absolutely. And another benefit that he has, and that everybody on this call has, is if you do get that big dollar listing, not only are you going to advertise it in the Stellar MLS system to Central Florida, but I'm also a member of the Space Coast MLS. I'm also a member of the Miami Board MLS as well. So that's how we can actually get way more eyeballs on these luxury properties, is if we put it in all of the MLSs. Okay. So that's another.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's another way that I won the listing, was that exactly that, that I'm going to put it. It was only listed in the Daytona Beach MLS. I'm going to list it there. I'm going to list it in Miami. I'm going to list it in Orlando, and joined all those boards because Andre's a member of those. So yeah, it definitely gives you a heads up.
Absolutely. So impressive, Chad. Very impressive. This is all from making FSBO phone calls as well. So, and that's why we implemented every other week, we do a call party here in the office where we provide everybody with leads. We provide you with leads, tricks and trades, scripts, all of that. So I do want to encourage you all to pay attention to that. We do that every other week. Okay. And you'll find out more information about that. Okay. So let's switch it a bit, because we know how this market is. So let's talk about listings. And Chad, you're great on this. I want to start with you, Chad, real quick. Listings. What did you use for your presentation, and what tools did you use to create your presentation, and what type of marketing did you do?
Well, I used name just the Coldwell Banker listing presentation.
Moxie.
Moxie, the listing presentation, and use the global luxury on those, and kind of tailored it a little bit, but use the magazines, and then I used Listing Concierge, did the videos, added the videos, and the Matterport, which
I get choked up too, Chad. I'm sorry. I do. Matter of fact,
it was my wife. I think I was telling Andre, but my wife was when I got those listings and she saw what it was going to cost me to do the marketing. She was saying, "Well, you need to just you just need to do a referral on those." I'm like, no, not doing a referral. But it cost on a house of those size, it cost a couple of $1,000s in marketing, but it pays off. And then now I've got some amazing videos that just make you a shoe in for the next listing. So it's definitely well worth it. DeVore Design did an amazing job on the videos and photography, and it it just creates something that you can use to get other listings.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Chad. Sophia, I'm going to throw it to you as far as your listings, since you do a lot of listings as well. Your presentation, the tools that you use to promote all of that, and social media. Do you use social media?
Yes. So I use Moxie also. The biggest thing I would say for Moxie is even if you don't have a listing, spend time kind of playing around with the listing concierge templates in there. You can add pages, and that's what I've done is I've added the pages that I like to make it my own and save it as a template. So now, you know, I can have a listing presentation together in 10, 15 minutes that looks incredible. It looks like I spent all this time, but in reality, I already had it set up and pages were done for me. And then, you know, using social media and using the listing concierge once it happens to your advantage. So you get that website with listing concierge, but not everyone uses that website. You can use that link and you can share that to social media. And, you know, I don't love doing it, but I try to do videos and different things like that just to get it out to the masses beyond just someone looking in the MLS. And so, yeah, a lot of those tools that you get through listing concierge, you can kind of take and implement on even more. The other thing is the flyer that you get through listing concierge. I will also do a email radius through Co-Realty to, you know, maybe a mile out and let those people know within the mile that, hey, I've got this new listing. And yeah, I'm presenting it like, hey, you might be interested, but more so I'm putting a name and a face out there to all those people that, hey, I have a listing in your area. So just a couple of extra things.
Wow. So she mentioned the Co-Realty resource. A lot of people are forgetting about that tool. Again, Co-Realty resource can give you phone numbers, email addresses of people in certain areas. So if you do have a listing, always go to Co-Realty resource and get everybody's email address in the area. And like Sophia
Same with an
says,
open house. It doesn't have to be the just listed flyer. Do your open house flyer that way.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. That's a great way that's a great tool that you can use to do a digital farm campaign. So, Mr. Vestardis, I see that you're comfortably in the car buckled up. So do you mind telling us about well, I know Amy does a lot of your listings, but can you tell us about, you know,
Sure.
what type of presentations you use, tools, do you use social media, video, all of that for your listings?
So what we do is first and foremost, we use Moxie to put the packet together. Okay. And our packet has information about us. It has information about, and it also has information about Coldwell Banker. So we have a set packet we do for every client. We take these off.
Sorry.
And then the other thing we do is we actually drop off a packet to the
I'm
client
in the middle of
before
it, but I can listen. They're not.
then. So, you know, it could be a client that, you know, is a past client or somebody new and that we're going against another person. So in that packet is the Moxie with the CMA in there, all the information about us. We also put the and then they can review it. You know, they'll probably sign everything electronically after, but at least it gives them a notion of what the packet looks like and what they're going to be signing. So that's the first part. When Amy goes over to the listing presentation, she does the listing presentation via, you know, she has all of the Moxie already set up, so she can open that up and kind of go through it with them and kind of walk the house through that. You know, give them some tips, you know, what they're going to need to do to sell the house, if anything's needed, and then kind of go through that process. Once we get the listing, then of course we do all of our marketing. Social media marketing, of course, is out there. We do use Listing Concierge, so that's a big one for us. Devore does most of our, if not all of our marketing for photographs and video. Amy, am I missing anything? Amy's next to me, so.
Hey, Amy.
Amy, get two for one. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. But we do use all the tools that Coldwell Banker has. I mean, the tools are amazing. They really are.
What about, I know sometimes you use Revitalize as well as one of your tools.
Yeah. Yeah, so that tool is awesome because, if you have a client who needs to do some work on the house, we've used it a lot where we tell them, you don't have to pay for it now. You can pay for it at closing, and it makes them kind of use it. They really do, because they feel that they don't have to take the cash out right up front, and they can just take it right at the end. And it's been awesome. I mean, that is a game changer, no doubt. So if you have anybody that needs to do little things that maybe they won't do because they don't want to spend the money up front, I think it's a huge, huge deal for sure to actually show the house better, to get them more money. That's kind of the deal in today's market. Even though it's fast, you can probably, make such a difference if you paint, the room or paint this. It can get them a couple of $1,000s more. So Real Vitalize is huge. It's a big one.
Absolutely. It is. Absolutely. And I just want to remind everybody of that too. That's why I brought it up with Alex. I know he uses it. Miss Jana Lee,
Yes, sir.
you use for your listing presentations, tools, social media, what type of marketing do you do? All of that.
I bribe them. I love bringing a little gift too. I like bringing a orchid, and when entering the home, I deliver a gift for the clients, if it's coffee and bagels, or whatever. And then I like to get to know them and walk through the home. Everything that everyone else is saying too. The Moxie is incredible. Coldwell Banker gives us so much and so many tools. But right now, my bucket is just really dry. There's not a lot of listings on my end of the woods here. So
Mhm.
we got to get out there and get cracking at it. So I'm excited and ready to go.
So that was my next question. And Jana Lee, thank you for that, for the nice segue. So
Segue.
since you have these listings and you're promoting these listings, where did you get the listings from? How did you get your listings? And where does your listing business come from? Sophia, I'll start with you.
I feel like I get this question a lot, especially in the position I'm in, meeting new agents and stuff. And I think the biggest thing I can say is, one, you have to work hard and make the phone calls, because people think it comes out of thin air, and it doesn't usually. And two, you have to have a lot of different buckets. So I'm a big supporter of a floor time. Do the FSBO calls, referrals, but I'm not going to focus just on my referrals or just on my sphere or just on floor time. Maybe I'll get one from floor time and one from here, but I really think that is the key. Obviously you don't want to spread yourself too thin, and especially if you're a new agent, you want to master one thing and kind of add to the next and add to the next. Don't overwhelm yourself with all the tools we have, but I think that really is the key, is kind of having a bunch of different buckets that you can pull from and not just being in one space.
Absolutely. Chad, you kind of mentioned where you get your listings, where you got your listings from. You mentioned that you pretty much got them from cold calling. Is that correct?
Well, the first one that I got that was a FSBO, they were on the do not call list, so I could not call them. So I did a presentation in Moxie, dropped it off at the house. It was a vacant house, and that was their only number, so I left it on the doorstep. I thought, that's probably not going to go anywhere. And then I was on desk duty, and I had a buyer walk in that was looking for an $800,000 house on the water, and that was almost $800,000 house on the water. And so you can call a FSBO if it's to show, but not to solicit. So I called to show the buyer. He was just coming in off the street. He was from Canada, just wanted to kill some time. So wasn't really sure if he was even, serious, but I'm like, hey, this guy, he's looking for a house like this. So I got in to see the house. The lady's son came and let me in, showed him the house. Wasn't the house for him. I text her and, just let her know, hey, you have a beautiful home. Sorry, my client went with something else. And then she texted me back and said, I'll probably list it after my open house this weekend if it doesn't sell. So that, and so then she opened the door for me to communicate with her, and so then I sent her information, and took about a month of going back and forth, and I didn't even realize, at the time, you got to be persistent, because sometimes she would answer my calls, sometimes she wouldn't, sometimes she was very short. And then whenever she finally called to list, it was right after probably the 10th time I had texted or emailed her, and her husband had passed away, and she was waiting for the probate. So you never know what's going on, and but just be persistent, and keep giving them information, and when they're ready, they'll call you. And from that, I got the neighbor's house after hers. She referred me to her sister, which has the multi-million-dollar houses, and then from that came purchases for new houses, and so it pretty much all came from one. So once you get that first listing, you can really capitalize on that, and just by going above and beyond and doing everything you can possibly do for them, they'll refer you out to everyone they know.
Absolutely.
So stopping by works too, right? Right, guys? Just stopping by the FSBOs versus calling them. Is that right?
Yes. Everything works. Do it all. Yes.
Okay.
And if they're not on the do not call list, like Alex said, and I think Kirsten said it too, is the texting. I think texting works so much better than the phone call. You call them, they're getting calls from everybody. They just immediately hang up on you. Texting, you can send them a text, a video text, or a text with pictures in it, something to set yourself apart, and they can answer you when they're ready to answer you. And the thing I like about it, being a new agent, they can't just spring a question on you that you don't have an answer to. So if you're texting back and forth and they text you something, you're not caught off guard with anything. You can respond better.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you just you spoke to Rose. She just says she don't know why she never thought about texting when they don't answer, they don't pick the phone up. So wow, thank you for that. Alex, where do you and Amy get majority of your listings from?
So let me go backwards a little bit, because one thing we missed on the listing presentation is what Amy does, and this is again a golden nugget. She does BombBomb before the listing, so she introduces herself and the team. So it's a lot, and then so that if it's somebody that doesn't know you, at least now they get a name with a face kind of thing. And then after the presentation, also she does another BombBomb and thanks them for coming out. So again, it sets yourself apart, because now they're seeing you. It's personal. It's nothing. So that's kind of that. In reference to business, we get about 65% of our business comes from past clients. So that's most of our, that's where we really, spend our time and money. We live in Vizcaya, which is right behind, the office there. We've lived there for quite a few years. And what we do in there is we do a quarterly mailing with all of the information about the neighborhood. And then we send other stuff out there too. We do a lot of just solds in there. So we've become kind of the forerunner in our neighborhood. So I highly suggest, whatever neighborhood you're in, hit it as hard as you can, because people will see you outside, walking the dog, talking to people. Just get them and do, I use RSP, that's the company. They do it all for me. I don't do a thing. All I do is tell them the information. And they even pull the MLS up. They do everything. So I use that, and it's a huge, huge game changer. I mean, we've made so much money out of our neighborhood because of that. So that's kind of the deal. And then, we some of the stuff's relocation here, that, most of that. But like I said, 65% of it is past client.
65% from past clients. So that's why I wanted to start off with your past clients and your CRM systems, and how do you engage them, because that's the foundation of our industry. Yep. Is building your database, engaging your database, and being able to rely on your database. Okay, So just like Chad says, he didn't have one, but he created one off of his sphere of influence, the people he knew. And that's why he has business from people from out of town right now. So very, very, very important. Sanchez asked what RSP is. RSP is a company that will do farming for you. They will do mailers. They will keep your farm area updated with the market, all, with your information on it, of course. So we can talk more. If you want more tips on how to farm an area, reach out to any of us. We're all very experienced on that, and we'll be able to help you with that. So just reach out to myself, Sophia, or Heather, and we'll be more than happy to help you with farming. So I want to wrap it up with your buyer side transactions. First, where your buyers come from, how are you getting your offers accepted? What are some tricks that you use to stand out in this very competitive market? What tricks are you doing to get your offer to stand out? We're going to end it with that, and then we're going to open it up with questions from everybody else on the call. So, Miss Rue, I'll start with you. I saw you were on the phone, Ariel, so that's why I didn't want to bug you. What are you doing? Because I know you gave us a great nugget at the sales meeting. What are you doing to get your offers accepted, for your buyers? Where are you getting your buyers from first? And what are you doing to get your offers accepted or seen by the listing agent?
So I have two streams of referrals that come to me for buyers. One is through my training program with Tom Ferry, and one is through, actually I have three streams. One is through Clubhouse, which is a mastermind that I do every morning for 7 to 9. And then another is through Sync with Matt Davis' team. They have me a bunch of leads that they bought. The other are from open houses and things like that. The way that I work on an offer is I will, and a lot of my clients actually are out of town. My buyers are out of town. So a lot of my discovery for them is doing a video walkthrough, and I'll tell them everything I can about that house, try to look at it like I'm buying it, show them the neighborhood, show them perspectives within the house, show them the things that aren't pretty in the house as well without talking about it. Like I'll do a little picture in the video. When it comes to the offer time frame, I will call the agent that is listing it ahead of time. I will ask them, what kind of offer do your people want to see that will help us win the offer? And I will take all of that information and bring it to my buyers, and then we will craft an offer that comes as close as we can to that, depending on our resources. Okay. And then from there, after I've crafted this offer, I will go ahead and put everything in a dot loop. And then when I go to send the offer, I will video text the listing agent, let them know I've sent the offer, and I'll give them the highlights of the offer in the video text, and I'll ask them to confirm receipt. In the offer, the things that I try to incorporate are a number of things. One is the one we all love and hate at the same time, is the waive the appraisal contingency. Okay, you have to have a buyer that has enough money to support that, or you are all going to be unhappy later, and we don't want that. Try to have as short of a loan time frame as possible. So if you have a buyer that's been put into a loan commitment status versus a pre-approval status, that's the highest, best near to cash as you can get option for your finance client. Put in a short time frame during the loan commitment stage for that. And you really have to be on top of it, because if you're not, you're going to pass that and then you're all in trouble. So make sure you're willing to be the person that runs that ship to get that appraisal done ASAP, so that you're in compliance for your time frame. A short inspection time. 5 days is really nice, but if your buyer wants to fly in from out of town, make sure you give it 7 to 10 days, but never go 15, because nobody likes that and they laugh at you. If you can, when you're doing the inspection, I will add the additional terms that anything under 2 grand, we're not going to even worry about wasting our time on. Anything over 2 grand, we're going to have a conversation about, and we have the right to renegotiate. I'll do an escalation clause, and I will also, when I'm doing the video text, if there's an escalation clause in there, because not every agent or agency is well versed on this and they're afraid of them. I will
So
say
true.
there's an escalation clause. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm happy to go over the details. And then I will also put in place, if we want to, and it's a rare case, I will put in a sign-on bonus. This is a new thing. I have not tested this out, but it's something that from my mastermind has been offered as an option for them to take my offer in the first 24 hours. Kind of like Mark Cuban does on Shark Tank, where he says, you have 10 minutes to accept my offer. I don't want you to hear anybody else's offer. That guy. So it's kind of a Shark Tank offer, if you will. But I will try to put in every single thing that I can to win the offer. The trick is that if you're going to do all these things, you must, absolutely must make sure that your buyer is very comfortable with these things. Okay, because if they're not, it will blow up on you and you will be the person that they will blame.
Mhm.
To make sure that they feel very comfortable, that you explain them thoroughly, and that they are in the same place that you are. And then if you get that contract accepted, and I found that I've been, the other thing I will do, which not everybody is comfortable with, I will put an offer for my same client on multiple properties. Because in this market, there may be only 3 properties at a time that work. And if they don't work, then, and I would highly recommend speaking to Andre before you do this, if you are brand
Yeah,
new.
so I'm gonna stop you on that one because yes, you can do that.
You will
But
talk to Andre first. You
talk to
swear
me
on
first.
your mama's life that
Yeah.
you will have a strong conversation with Andre about how to really make this work, because there is an art to it. And if you're not comfortable, you don't do it. But you always talk to Andre before you do anything that's new to you, because you have to make sure that you.
Right, and I'll keep you out of realtor jail, so just reach out to me, please. I don't want anybody in realtor jail. It's getting
Stay
full
out of
right
jail.
now. Realtor jail is overcrowded right now with all the craziness I'm seeing out there. So,
Yeah, so
so
a lot of it is high touch with the other listing agent.
yes,
They need, and
yes,
the other thing too is, you talk to a listing agent, you're going to find out if that person is going to be a good person to do a transaction with, if they're going to be, if they're all about themselves.
true,
You
absolutely.
need to
Right
know
now,
that.
a lot of listing agents are all about themselves. Other companies, obviously, but yes, Mr. Alex, because we're running out of time here. I want to hear um, how are you getting your buyer offers, since you do most of your buyers? How are you getting your offers accepted? Some tricks that you do, or anything that you can share with us?
Sure. So the first thing I do with everybody is really coach and counsel a lot, like to the point of, you know, making sure that they understand what they're getting themselves into, because this market is not, it's got to be cash. Okay, let's start there. It has to be cash. 70% of the deals are cash, and I think it's up more than that. Andre, you might want to pull it up.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
But what happens? You have to sit down with your client and tell them that all these transactions are going to be cash. So how do you become cash is really the question. Because if you don't, I had a property we listed last week. We had 18 offers. Guess what? Cash won every time. I had one in Bay Hill, same thing. Cash won. So they're cash deals. So leading somebody down the road and not understanding that they're cash deals is the biggest problem, because you're going to lose every single time. So either A, you remove the contingency for financing. Okay, that's what you do. That's the start. And if you do that, they need to understand that they could lose their money if they don't finance. Okay, I had one 2 weeks ago, and it was $100,000. We missed the date. They could have lost $100,000, but guess what? We made it up. They took it and they gave us a couple extra days. So that's the first part. The second part is inspections. Okay. You're going to lose out again to somebody doing no inspections. Okay. Look at the house. Is it a house that they're comfortable doing no inspections? Again, you got to coach them, but they are the final decision maker, not you. You cannot tell them to do that. So we just did one recently, same thing. I did a no inspection cash deal on the house. The house was a newer home. It was fine. They did a walkthrough. We did the whole thing. Unfortunately, it's not the prettiest way to do it, but this is what we're going up against. Every house is getting 6, 8, 10, 12, 15 offers. And if it's those houses are in that mix, you're in trouble. You know, I'm going to show property tomorrow, and I've got 6 or 8 houses to show. 4 out of the 7 houses I'm showing are having open houses this weekend. Guess what? They're all multiple offer. It's Winter Garden. They're going to be multiple offer up to 700,000. So how do you make your client cash is the key. Now everybody's going to be different. My client I'm going out with tomorrow, he will be cash. We've already set it up that way. Otherwise, you might as well stay home because you will lose almost every single time on these deals. But that's where we're at today. And that can change next week. But so either A, it's got to be cash through John Smith. Talk to him on how you can do it and remove financing contingencies. But that's unfortunately the way we got to go.
Absolutely. Cash transactions are up 25% year over year.
So you can mark the cash box even though it's financing. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, you can do that.
Yes,
Oh, cool.
That's I click the cash box on it, and it's not contingent on financing. And you send over the letter with the financing, but you know you also have to send over proof of cash on some of
Wow.
these deals, friend deals. Unfortunately, is
Huh.
what some
But
will ask.
there are ways also, people, we have RealSure that is changing to where they're going to help convert your finance buyers into cash. And there is a third-party company out there called Divvy that will convert your finance offers to cash as well. There are additional fees to that, so you need to learn those programs before you start talking about them, okay? Or just reach out to one of us and we'll help you walk through those different options, okay? But there are options out there to convert your finance buyers into cash if, like what Ruth said earlier, if they are already at a loan approval, they already have that with their lender. That's an easier, we can probably go ahead and say they're going to be cash buyers on that. Go ahead, Sophia.
So kind of playing off that, and I guess this might not be the right answer to the question, but I've been doing, I think like 80% of my buyers this year have been new construction. And it depends on the person. It doesn't fit every box, but I had a VA guy the other day and it was like, forget it. If you're VA or FHA, unfortunately, like it's just not happening. But you have to know the right builders. I have favorites and not so favorites. But there are some that they're going to be able to close in July and August. So some of these places do have inventory homes. It's just, you got to hunt a lot more. It's, and some builders are doing highest and best. So it really depends. But that's been my big way for first time home buyers. Everyone's been new construction because I can get them in without fighting anyone. And they don't have the cash to be waiving stuff. So it just kind of depends.
Absolutely. Any other panelists want to contribute to this conversation before I open it up for questioning? Go ahead, Janalee.
I just wanted to add off of what Alex and Sophia and Rue are also saying there. It's in this market, it's also in the small details. If there's an offer that's exactly the same, I'm talking maybe it is conventional, maybe it's not cash, but if they do look at that, or even if it is cash, why not offer to pay the seller's closing fees? And that has made the difference for me as well. And contributing, whatever amount, whether it's $2,000, $1,500, $1,000 towards their closing fees, and also closing up the closing date, being able to close in 3 weeks as opposed to 45 days or 30 days. 3 weeks is key as well.
Absolutely. Now have that conversation with the buyer and also the buyer's lender. Make sure they can meet those terms as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Because then you might end up in realtor jail. So
Oh, no, we always talk first, always. Like Alex said, you got to coach them,
Yes,
you
you
got to
do.
make sure they have that tough skin.
absolutely. Okay, so yes, go ahead, Ms. Rue.
I was gonna say, I saw in the chat a question about turning your financed buyer into a cash buyer. Did you guys
Mhm.
address that already?
Yes.
Okay, did you talk about ribbon or anything like that?
Yeah, Ribbon, Divvy, all those. Yep. And Real Short. And they can reach out to us so we can really kind of explain all that because they do have extra fees involved with them. So, all right. Any questions out there? Omar, I appreciate you chiming in. Any other questions out there? Thanks, Gabby, for your questions.
Yeah, they don't have it all.
Well, I hope this was beneficial. This is being recorded. We will share it out to everybody. Last question, and we'll leave it with that. And again, I really do appreciate you all for participating. Uh-oh, somebody, Chad, I think you're trying to share your screen, Chad. Chad, you're going to have to take that off. Let me steal it from you. That's all right. So the last question for the panelists, and we'll just start with Jenna Lee. Your most memorable or successful transaction and why?
Oh my gosh. They're all memorable. It's the feeling that you get for first-time home buyers when they really, oh my God, we did it. We've been looking, we've been searching. Now we have a home. It's the American dream. It's what everybody wants, and everybody deserves to have a pillow to sleep on at night. That's what I always say. And I'm going to do everything I can. I'll roll up my sleeves. I'm going to go to work for you. I want you to have the home of your dreams. From my $1 million listing and that sale, they were so pleased, and they thought that was really an interesting transaction because the start to finish, because we had to do the estate sale. They also did improvements to the property. We had to change out or negotiate the polybutylene piping. That was crazy. So all that negotiating towards the end was amazing. So they felt really good about it. We felt good about it. It's just that incredible feeling at the end of the day on closing day. I feel very blessed to be in this industry. I feel extremely blessed to be in an office with Coldwell Banker with such incredibly talented people all around me.
Thank you. And thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I want to give that started Alex his chance to answer that question because I know he has to go. Most memorable or successful transaction and why?
So, well, I've had quite a few, but one that kind of sticks out many years ago. One of my clients called me up probably about 20 years ago. I don't know, 15, 18 years ago. He said, I'm looking to buy a new house. He had a house, I don't know, 300,000. And he said, I'm looking on the chain of lakes. And I said, wow, did you hit the lottery? Kind of thing. And he's like, well, I'm kind of selling my business and I've done well, this, that, and the other. So we go out, I show him a house on the chain of lakes in Windermere, and we're sitting out there and he goes, I think I'm going to buy this. And I said to him, quote unquote, I said, I think it's a great day to buy a house. It was a beautiful day. And he says, okay. I'm like, you really have the money for this? I mean, it wasn't rude or anything. He goes, I really do. So Bill, to this day, if I ever see him in Windermere, he always says, Alex, I think it's a great day to buy a house. That's my fun ones.
I love it.
And he's giving me tons of business. But, so I guess the key to this is you don't know who you're talking to. And if they call you back 2, 3, 4 years from now, it could be, somebody that did well or whatever, and now they're upsizing to a beautiful home. So it's kind of a cool deal.
Absolutely. I love it. And thank you for participating. I know you have to go. So we really appreciate you and all you do for the office.
Of course.
All right. Well, Chad, I know your most memorable transaction pretty much. But go ahead and tell us, Chad, what's your most successful or memorable transaction?
Well, this Tuesday closed on the 3.4 million, so that's my most memorable to date.
Yeah, I guess so. Easy answer. All right, Sophia.
I guess I had worked with this couple for like 6 months. And then on closing day, we were chit-chatting, kind of like Alex said, you never know who you're dealing with. And she was talking, and she was like, we're going, up wherever to go see my son. Like, he's a hockey player. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I know nothing about sports, but Matt really likes sports. And I'm like, oh, like, what team does he play for? And he plays for Matt's favorite team. So I casually am like, oh, do you mind me asking his name? Because Matt might know him. And she was so casual and was like, yeah, like he probably know him. And he turns out he's like the star of the team. I thought Matt's jaw was gonna like fall off the floor. But we ended up becoming really good friends. And she got us signed hats, and we actually saw them.
Oh, that's
Went
great.
to my first hockey game, and we got to see them there. So it's been this fun friendship now. But like, you never know who you're dealing with.
True. That's
So
awesome.
true. We have a quick question from Gabby real quick. I guess we need to answer this one. This is a great question. How long did it take you to feel like you were doing good in real estate? Sophia, you'll be a great person to answer that.
Probably, I would say it takes 6 months before you feel like, okay. But I would say your first year is your hardest for everyone. I think the important thing to remember is, everyone starts off at different points. I mean, like Chad is at an incredible first month, but then I know other people that they're absolutely star agents at our office, but they didn't close a single deal in their first 6 months. So it all kind of depends. But just know that it does take time, and Denise can vouch for me. I had my moment probably a year into it where I think I broke down in front of Evan Bash. I had 4 deals cancel in a row, and I felt like I was the problem. But you kind of you grow from that, and it was Denise and I always reflect on that you'll have your moments, but as long as you're okay with, you're always going to keep learning and stuff. You'll never be fully comfortable with it because there's always something new. But if you can appreciate that instead of see it as a negative, then you'll be successful with it.
Absolutely.
Get your processes in place too, if I may add.
Processes.
Get your processes in place.
Build that.
Always,
Yeah, I started when I started in October, so I got my first listing in the end of December, but right before that, I was talking to Andre, and I'm like, man, I've got to give. I'm 3 months, I haven't made $1. Like I don't know if this is gonna work. And then got that listing, and then 3 listings in January. So yeah, it was after 3 months of nothing, it gets frustrating, but it comes.
It does. Alex, you want to contribute?
Sure. Yeah. So again, I'm the ancient one here, but when I started, Amy was in the business first. She worked I think about a year, and her business started going. So we sat down and kind of figured out what each one of us is going to do. So my first month was kind of like the Chad deal. I sold 8 homes first month.
Wow.
It was crazy. I didn't even know how to write a contract. In those days, we didn't have a computer, so we and that kind of is funny, but we actually wrote contracts then, which is crazy. I would call Amy up from the office, and I'd be like, what do I check off for this? What do I do? But the thing is, even though I did 8 deals that first month, I knew that the next month I had to start getting to work. It just was one of those things. So, don't feel comfortable ever in this business, ever. I've been doing this 20 some years, and I'm still never comfortable. I wake up, and every morning I wake up, it's 0. Just keep going. Don't look back. Don't look at what you got. Just wake up and do it again and again and again. And you'll see that, one day you'll wake up and the business is coming. And that's the beauty of it. It's an awesome business.
It is an awesome business.
Great advice.
That's great advice. Rue, you want to contribute real quick? And we'll end it unless anybody else has any other questions online.
I think that the minute that you feel like you know everything is the minute you have stopped being effective. In this industry, what I have learned in the last year and a half is that every month something changes. And you have to be willing to be an agent of change, or it will run you over. And I can't imagine, because Alex has been doing this a long time, exactly what you just said. every day is day zero. That's exactly how you have to approach it. You're going to become better at certain aspects of it, right? And then you're going to feel confident. You're going to have a different level of confidence, but you have to be ready for things to be different because right now,
You gotta roll, baby.
yeah, right now we're in this wild and crazy market, right? And the market where people didn't talk to you, if you aren't learning something right now in this wild and crazy market, when we get to the market that isn't wild and crazy, you're going to fall flat. If you don't learn your skills right now, when you get to the place where you really have to put in the effort, if you aren't putting in the effort in now, that time you're going to end up broke because you're not going to know what you're doing. You know, so even though you're drinking from a fire hose right now, you need to sit back, really assess where your strengths are, and learn how to find people to help you do the things you're not strong at, and continue to learn every single day.
Absolutely. And I think that,
And,
say that again, I'm sorry.
and listen, we have to listen to our clients. They have needs, wants, desires. You have to listen.
So I want to thank you all again. I don't see any more questions in the chat box. I don't hear any more questions coming. So I think this was an outstanding panelist. I think you all did a great job, and I really want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. So,
Thank you, Andre.
all right. So I want to thank you all. Have a good day. Any other questions? If anybody on the call have any future questions, just feel free to reach out to any one of your support staff. We are all here to help you. And I'm going to work with Chad on how to deal with virtual meetings with his cell phone, because I still see your wife. Other than that,
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
all right. See you all later. Thank you so much.
Be blessed.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.